So Grammy, who are you?
Hi, I'm Grammy. I am Macy's grandmother and have been her grandmother all her life.
Yes, that's pretty accurate. That's kind of how grandmas work usually.
That's right. That's
usually.
right.
Anything else you want them to know about yourself?
Well, I don't know if anything I want you to know about me, except that when she asks the questions, I'll be happy to give you very honest answers.
Before we get into the video, I just want to remind you guys that we do have that experiment running on my channel where I turned over a $10,000 investment portfolio to you guys to let you make my stock picks. There's a lot of Tesla. So if you want to see what's going on with that portfolio, there's a tracker on the top link in the description. It's run through a company called Savvy Trader, which is sponsoring this channel. And with that link, you'll be able to see when I'm making trades, my previous trades, and also the current value of the account. It's completely free. It'll take like 30 seconds. It would be a huge help to my channel and also them. They are a very small fintech company. So if you want to support two small businesses, both myself and the fintech company, that would be absolutely fantastic. Again, it's 100% free. If you could just help us out, that would be great. Okay, let's get back into the video.
Perfect. All right. How's the temperature of this seat feel that we are sharing?
Warm, very warm and a little uncomfortable.
We had to turn off the AC so you wouldn't hear it in the background.
Yes, it's very hot here.
It's very hot.
Very hot here.
We're in the 3 digits. We're feeling it already. It's only been off for like 10 minutes. First one's a little spicy.
Okay.
What is your opinion of the development of Graham and Macy's relationship?
Oh my goodness, the development of their relationship has brought me nothing but great joy. At first I thought, oh, he's a little older. And then I thought, you know what? Macy needs somebody a little older. But I love Graham. He's an amazing, amazing man. And I just am so grateful for the two of them. They're so compatible. It's great.
It's funny. Everyone kind of said that. They're like, oh, he's older. That kind of makes sense. That was the same thing, Stephanie, when I told her about it. My mom's best friend. She was like, oh, he's 29. It kind of makes sense. And then I was like, oh, okay.
I think it concerned me for about 10 seconds.
Yeah. What did you think of my dad when you first met my dad? It's another spicy one.
Another spicy one. Well,
Oh, to explain, by the way, this is my mom's mom.
I loved his sense of humor because I have a really weird sense of humor, and so does he. And so I loved his sense of humor. And I watched him with
Your mom.
And I watched him, the two of them fall in love, but I watched him become very protective of her, which made me very grateful. Very grateful. I love him to death.
My dad has this weird mix between Blades of Glory, dad jokes, and then a little bit of Nacho Libre, and that's like his humor.
And I'm married to a man with a very dry sense of humor, so I got
Dad
right away.
Yeah. Who was your first heartbreak? And I don't even know if you had one. Did you?
Well, yes, I did. His name was Mark Alexander, and I was 12 years old.
And never trust a guy with 2 first names.
That's exactly right. And so I was just entering middle school. He was older. He was 14.
Oh.
He dumped me for a girl that had a big bust and wore a bra. So he dumped me. I cried. I cried for a week.
That would
Remember
be really
me, Mark?
We're going to get somebody who makes a fake profile that's Mark Alexander. They're going to be like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Macy's grandma. Also, if you have 2 first names. Oh, wait, Graham has 2 first names.
Yes. There you go.
My gosh.
There you go.
After I just said don't trust the man with 2 first names.
But you can trust Graham.
Let's see.
By the way, I told Macy she can ask me anything. I'm an open book.
When will I start having your great-grandchildren?
When will you
think?
start having my great
Because
great-grandchildren?
you obviously dictate all that.
I dictate
Yes.
all that. I would think within 6 months after you're married.
I could definitely see that as a possibility because we want to get married by the time on our 5-year anniversary, and by the time that rolls around I'll be 25. I definitely see that we'll have some kind of a plan of what we're doing at that point. When we first got together, if I'd be like, this is where we'd be at 3 years later, I would have been like, you're lying to me. So it's hard for me to say where I'll be at 25 because that's another 2 years from now. Let's see. What are the most interesting changes in the world from your childhood to the modern day?
Oh my goodness. I'm an old woman, so.
Not even.
In my childhood, there was no fear of going out. We played with everybody on the block. We weren't worried about strangers. We weren't about stranger danger.
We don't know him. Stranger danger. Ice cream.
I lived on a block where there were all different nationalities. I grew up in New York, all different nationalities. We all treated each other the same. We had respect for each other. It breaks my heart to see what's happening today with people, how you can't just accept a person for who they are. It has nothing to do with where you live, what color your skin is, or how much money you make. Yeah. It's about what you are inside. That's the biggest difference that I see.
I definitely could see that like the whole U.S. has gotten a lot more materialistic, and it's like, well, how much money do you make? What car do you drive?
Absolutely.
Versus like, this is who I am.
Yes.
What do you think of my new career path in social media? I guess it's not really new, but...
Well, I don't know that this is new, because I need to tell you a little secret about Macy. Huh? So when she was a little girl, her mom had a home business and was selling home interior designs. And I guess she would practice with Macy. Well, Macy would come here and stand in my entryway like she was on the stage. She would give the whole spiel about home interiors and try to sell me the things. So she was very outgoing. And so this new career with doing YouTube and the other vlogs and stuff that she's doing, it's just, to me, it's natural for Macy, because that's the way she is. This does not surprise me. And I watch every one of them.
If YouTube had been around to like the extent, and social media had been around to the extent that it is now when I was 3, would that have been something you would have thought I would have gone into? Because it's hard to say, because like YouTube and a career in social media wasn't there when I would have been doing this.
No, I don't know that I would have thought you would have gotten into it, but I thought you would have been involved in some way, not as much as you are today.
Yeah, that makes sense. What did you think I was going to be when I grew up?
For some reason, I thought you were going to be in the business world, something to do with fashion. I don't know why, because you always dressed to the best that you could, and always everything had to match.
So you mentioned being a counselor. Do you think people have different mental health struggles today compared to when you started as a counselor?
Oh, absolutely. People are hiding things because they don't want to open up to other people, which is causing them so many mental problems. There's so many families that I'm watching that are just falling apart because of mental health issues, and the people refuse to get help because they don't want to admit they have a problem.
How much do you think social media affects that? Like the fact of like Instagram, you make your life look really polished and whatever, that people feel the need to hide it more because they want to look like they're having a picture perfect life.
I think it affects it tremendously. I have a great-grandson, one of my great-grandsons, who believes everything that he sees on social media.
Part of me thinks sometimes social media and the internet definitely has led people to be gullible. And then I also remember stories of my dad believed that everyone in Queen died because his friend told him that when he was 13. And so I'm how much of this is that we were all just really gullible and never really got past that, and then social media was too much for our brains to handle, or how much is social media?
I think a lot of it depends on the home that you're in. If you have parents that are open, that you can go and talk with at any time about anything, it doesn't affect you the same way.
Hey, Grandpa. What did you think I was going to be growing up?
What is that?
What did you think I was going to be growing up?
No idea. I just knew that you'd be a beautiful young lady.
Oh, thank you. What makes Macy more special than your other grandkids?
They're all special to me. Every one of them are special to me. So I don't have one that's more special than another. Each of them that are more special in a different way. Macy has always been very concerned about me and very thoughtful. She sent me a necklace one day that just melted my heart, that had 3 little rings that I wear most of the time, and that represents me, her mom, and Macy. She's always been that way. If she knows I'm sick, she calls. If she knows I'm having a rough day, she calls or pops in like she did today. So that makes her special to me in that way, but each one of them are so have my heart. I never, ever, ever thought I would ever get married, have children, and let alone be a grandmother. So to me, this is such a sacred privilege.
Yeah.
So, and I love you with all my heart.
My
And this
God.
is Miss Bailey.
Do you know what a bad bitch is?
No, what is it?
It's like a girl that's like a boss and stands up for herself, like dresses confidently and has confidence about her. Okay. Do you identify as a bad bitch?
Yes, I do. I do. You know what? Again, growing up, I had no self-confidence, no self-worth, no idea what I would even do after high school. My parents never talked to me about that. And matter of fact, I think in reality, I wasn't even planning to live past graduating from high school. I have come to the conclusion that I am of great worth. And I'm not trying to say that in any prideful way, but I know that I have...
I'm allowed to take pride in that. You're an amazing person.
But not prideful. I mean, I'm grateful for the things that I've learned. I know that I'm a daughter of God, and I know I'm of great worth. I've seen me accomplish things that I never, ever would have thought. And just looking at my family, and as I watch my family grow, that is the greatest accomplishment I've ever had. To me, yes, I'm one of those. Yes. Of course, I'm not dressed like that today, but I can. I can.
What is the best thing a person has said to you while at work?
Thank you. Thank you for helping me make the right choice. One experience I had with one of my clients when I first started working, he was just a mess. And I told him there's always two choices. You can do what's right or do what's not right. Choice is yours. And about 2 years later, I was at the mall, and this man came up behind me and grabbed me and scared me to death. And I turned around and I didn't recognize him. And it was that guy, because he had changed his life. He was married and they had a little baby. And he couldn't thank me enough. So thank you. Was all I ever needed.
All right, I'm going to switch this over to our member questions just for a second.
They're deeper questions, yes.
We'll see. I don't know. Let's see. It takes a second to do it on mobile. What is your best advice for young generations today?
To remember who you are and always be the best that you can be.
I like that. My Instagram story said you used to be a counselor. So what's the most common issue you've seen between spouses, and how can one prevent that or work through it?
The greatest issue that I've ever seen is that nobody listens to each other. They tell me they do, and I've been guilty of this too. Listening doesn't mean that you're in your head already coming up with an answer for their problem or making a judgment. It means that you're listening and developing empathy and sympathy for them and letting them just vent without opening up your mouth. Let them tell you how they feel, because there's no right or wrong to feelings. What becomes right or wrong is what you do with those feelings. We all need somebody to listen to, so that was probably the one thing that I always taught people.
What are your views on me getting married?
I'm thrilled. I am thrilled. I know that Macy has been raised to be a good woman and has the skills she needs to be a good wife. I believe with all my heart that she will do everything possible to make her home a bit of heaven here on earth, and to make it a home filled with love and peace. And so if I could give Macy any bit of advice, I'm going to give her the same advice I gave her mom. Her mom got married.
And we kind of got into a little fight.
You know, we get married and all of a sudden realize we're not getting along.
And so I just told him I was going to leave, and I drove, was about an hour and a half to my parents' house. And I went there and surprised them.
I said, what are you doing here?
And, I told him I was all upset, and my parents were like,
Get back in the car and go home.
And so I'm like, so what's your advice? And their advice was,
Go home and work things out.
and I couldn't believe it.
And she said, no, I'm going to spend the night.
And they were like, call him, let him know where you're at. We'll eat dinner, and then you'll go back in the car, and you'll
Go home. You cannot spend the night. You need to go back and work this out.
So I literally went up there for an hour and had a quick dinner with my parents and got in the car and came back home. And it was the best just advice they ever gave me.
When we are in a relationship, the best thing we can do is work things out.
Yeah.
You don't let it go on and on and on. And to do that, you have to have respect, love, patience, and trust. And that's why you're in this relationship.
Yeah.
Because evidently you feel that with Graham.
Yeah.
And he feels that with you. And it's a beautiful thing. I've been married for a long time. I never thought, like I said, that I would be married. December is going to be 62 years. That's what I would tell you.
Yeah. What's the funniest thing I did as a child? And or what is your favorite memory of growing up? You can answer one or both.
She was always doing funny things. I mean, would always imitate adults. She would be around, like I said, she would imitate her mom selling home interiors, or she would be here and we would have the family together and then they would leave and she would get on stage and be that person. I just would crack up over her, and much more mature than her age. At 3 was telling people exactly what to do and how to do it. So I used to crack up.
My mom told me that my childhood best friend's mom, I used to tell her how to make peanut butter and jelly, right?
Yes. You told everybody what to do.
Yeah, I've been told I
Yes.
was really bossy.
I'm glad you outgrew it, though, because at your age it wouldn't go over well.
No, definitely now that's evolved to me being always the mom of the group. What's your tip on cultivating long-lasting relationships?
Again, I would say love, trust, respect, and patience.
What would you tell your 20-year-old self?
About what?
If you could tell your 20-year-old self anything, what would you...
I would have told my 20-year-old self that life is precious and you need to hold on to the things that mean everything to you, and that you need to become the best that you can and get as much education as you can. By education, I don't mean that you need to go back to school, but that's always helpful. If I had a desire to learn something, I would get all the information I could and go learn it. You can never stop learning. You can never learn enough.
I always jokingly say, not really jokingly, if I could go back and say anything to like my 17-year-old self, it would just be like a little knock upside the head and then walk away.
Yeah, a little knock upside the head would have been good.
That's the only thing I could really tell myself that wouldn't lead to me not ending up here.
We learn from the lessons that we live in life with.
As a counselor, what is one money complaint between spouses that is generally a deal breaker?
My money, your money. We've never had that here, and I've worked. We put the money in a joint account. If it's a big expense, then we'll discuss it with each other. And so financially, you need to discuss everything. Yeah, but you need to...
Oh my gosh, Max!
Hello.
He's snoring!
Yes.
That's a dog!
You're in a joint relationship, and so I mean I can't see Grandpa saying to me, "Okay, you pay for the utilities, I'll pay the rent. You do this, you do that. It's our money."
So I'm curious because Graham and I are going to have like a kind of combination of joint and separate. We'll have our own separate things. We'll have a joint account for like house stuff and whatever together. What are your thoughts on that?
I've never been in that situation, so I really can't tell you. But if you guys are comfortable with it, every family is different.
Yeah.
Every relationship is different, and so you need to do what's best for your relationship.
Would you ever make your own YouTube channel?
No.
I know at some point I want to do podcasts. I think that'd be so much fun to have you, my mom, and me sit down and talk about like relationships and whatnot. Because I think it'd be interesting to
That
get
would
like
be
3
great.
generations
That would be
opinion
great.
on that. And I guess what do you think about the modern woman?
I have a great respect for women that take charge of and believe in who they are. I might not agree with who they think they should be, but that's not my choice. It's theirs. And so I have a great amount of respect
Yeah.
when someone takes control and becomes what they want to be.
Yeah. Do you think women today have more opportunities than when you were like
Absolutely.
17, 18?
Absolutely. In the last probably 15 years?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm grateful for that.
If you were 18 right now, what do you think you would do? Like what career path? Or do you think you would have still
I really
done your same thing?
I really don't know what I would have done if I hadn't been married and been 18, because I honestly had no goals.
What do you think of like my jobs and what I do? I guess my multiple businesses
For
that I'm
multiple
running.
businesses.
I sound like a very successful business person,
You
but I
do.
don't make very much.
Well, you know what? Success isn't always measured with money. It's lives that you touch and lives that you help change. So I am in awe of you. I really am, girl. I just think you are amazing. That you have the guts to go forth and do what you choose to do, and you do it. Knowing that there's can be success and there can also be failure, but you go ahead and you do it.
We've been doing this for 45 minutes.
Wow.
So I'm going to let us have a break.
Okay.
Also, I'm sure my voice sounds like utter garbage. Oh, maybe like sparkly garbage. Thank you for coming on.
Anytime. Anytime.
you for letting
Let's
me
make it not so hot, though.
Let me know if you want me to get my grandpa on, because I guess I'm gonna have to come back here if you guys want that. I guess. Comment, like the video to let us know that you liked it, because if you watched to this point, you probably liked it. And with that said, I will see you guys next time.